Huh. I can't begin to tell you how nice that is. Just to take it right off.
Alright guys, the next thing I want to take care of on the truck is the transmission cooler lines. So this is my transmission cooler. It's I believe it's a 30-row oil cooler I picked up off of eBay pretty cheap. It's got dash 10 AN fittings on it. This is the same cooler that we were using with the AT545. Lucky enough for us, the transmission cooler lines are gonna be long enough. So here on the Allison 2000, the cooler ports are down here on the bottom. We are gonna have to switch out these adapters here. These are dash 12 O-ring Boss, and they went to a dash 12 JIC. So we got some new adapters here to go from the dash 12 O-ring Boss to a 10 JIC. JIC is the same as AN. The nice thing about this AN line is the ends are completely reusable. So we can figure out how long we need these, cut them to length, and then we could, if we needed to, take that end off and reuse it. I don't know if we'll have to. I'm either gonna put some straights on here or some 45s to kick them up. I'm not quite sure yet. We'll have to see what looks best, but we're gonna get those changed out and start hooking the cooler lines up.
What's that oil in there? Huh.
All right, so I was just in the process of tightening down the last hydraulic, or not hydraulic, transmission cooler line, and I realized this isn't gonna work. So as you can see, this is where my exhaust comes out. It's all pretty tight. I'm hoping that the exhaust that I have is still gonna work on this, but we'll see, because it looks like the whole engine kind of sits a little bit further this way, so it might be kind of tight. But the exhaust is gonna drop down right through here, and it pretty much, last time it touched the bell housing and just about touched the frame just to keep it up as high as I could. So these lines are going to be right in the way, so that's not going to work. I think the only real option is to either run them around the other side of the truck or run them up and over the bell housing and down the other side. But even then, they're still going to be running right next to the exhaust, which they did last time, but the exhaust really doesn't get that hot on this truck because it's really not doing much work for what it is. So either way, we're going to have to order some new line because I don't have any more of this dash 10 line, and we'll have to make up 2 new ones and either run them around the other side or run them up and over and down. So I guess we're going to move on to the next thing. I think we're going to pull the oil pan and put the new gasket in. When I changed from the 2 back to the 3, it tore out the whole section of gasket. So we're going to pull the pan and change that out. And I'm very happy that I took the time to modify that front cross member, because that's going to be so much easier than before.
I can't begin to tell you how nice that is. Just to take it right off and not have to like pull the oil pump to get the pan off. Oh, that was nice. Where the heck did that go?
All right, guys, we got the oil pan all cleaned up. We got the surface on the bottom of the engine all cleaned up as well. Cleaned out the inside of the oil pan. We got some dirt and crap in there when we did the rear main seal, so it's a good thing we're doing this as well, just to clean that out. We got our new Cat Gasket. I've now replaced this gasket 3 times. First time I went with a cheap eBay one, and honestly it was about the same price as the Cat one. And the cheap eBay one was not as nice as the Cat one. Last time I went with the factory Cat one, and honestly I think it was the same price. They had it in stock that day, and it's a way better gasket. We're also going to be using some of this Loctite high flex gasket maker, the 386/57. So we're only going to be using that where the front timing cover is and where the rear housing bolts up. There's a little bit of a gap there, so we'll use that just to make sure we don't have any leaks. That's something I didn't do the first 2 times I put this gasket in. The first time we never had any leaks. So, and these oil pan bolts, they get torqued to 20 foot-pounds or 240 inch-pounds for those curious and doing this at home. Let's get this thing in there. Yoo-hoo! Quick summer blowout. All right, so today I want to work on getting the exhaust installed. You can see it sitting there. It's still covered in like salt and road grime. The exhaust is one of those kind of big items that's harder to manipulate. So it'd be much easier to run other lines around the exhaust than try to run the exhaust around other lines. So we're gonna get that installed. I'm hoping that it fits up, but we didn't move the engine that much, so we might just have to move some clamps around. Hopefully, I hope it just kind of bolts up, but if not, we will take care of that eventually. And I do want to put a muffler on it this time. Don't get me wrong, the whole straight pipe thing is cool, but it gets old after a while. You know, we're not gonna make it like quiet. It's still gonna have a nice rumble, hopefully. It just won't be obnoxiously loud. Let's do it. Alrighty, so we got the exhaust put on the truck. One of the most alright installations I've ever seen. So everything pretty much is bolted up. The only thing I had to do was loosen this clamp here and reclock things, if you will, but it pretty much just bolted right up. We have a little bit of room between the frame and the exhaust. So when we moved the engine, it did kind of come closer this way. That's why we had to reclock that, and that's why it's fairly tight, but it was always really tight. There's a lot of stuff crammed into this truck, and 5-inch exhaust was pretty ambitious. As you can see, it's also very tight down here, which is exactly how it was before. I went back to video and pictures just to make sure, but yeah, pretty much on the 545 it pretty much touched the gasket on the pan, which is pretty much what it's doing now. We actually might have a little more clearance up by the bell housing for some odd reason, because before that pretty much touched everything right there. And then yeah, it comes back. We got a 45 to offset us around the air dryer, 45 to bring us back straight, and it cruises by the transfer case and then out to the 6-inch tip. I didn't have to do anything with this mount. This one here, I just had to move it back slightly. The only thing I'm somewhat concerned about is our 24-pin twist lock here. I can fit my hand between the exhaust and the connector, so I don't think it'll be an issue, but I don't know how big the connector itself is. The only other thing we could really do is move this air dryer so that way the pipe could just come straight back and then kick it out. And that's why I put the exhaust on now, because last time the exhaust was one of the last things I did. I was actually driving the truck around, and at first all I had was 190 on the turbo, just shooting it straight down. I waited like months to put this on, so the air dryer was already in place, you know, and plumbed and working, so I didn't want to move it at that time. I thought about moving it like right now, but it's just there's not a lot of good options to put it. And the exhaust is already made like this, and if I moved it, I'd have to buy some more pipe and stuff. So I'm all about using what I got and saving money. So that connector is just about as close as this fitting here. And those of you that remember back when we did the exhaust, I was concerned about this airline getting too hot. I took the truck on about an hour drive. When I got back, I hopped under the truck and felt this, and it was cold to the touch. Like, it wasn't even hot. The 5-inch exhaust does a real good job of getting that heat from the engine out the tailpipe. You know, there's nothing to slow it down, so the exhaust really doesn't get that hot. So I'm not overly concerned about anything, really. This should work just fine. And if not, we'll fix it. Alright guys, that's going to be it for this video. We got the transmission cooler lines in, which was kind of, I don't know how I feel about having like 20 feet of transmission cooler line, but you know, it is what it is. It looks pretty decent, so yeah, I ordered 16 feet of cooler line to replace the 2 lines that we already had, and that wasn't enough, so I ended up having to order more, and that's kind of delayed this video. Either way, it's in, it looks good, and we also got the exhaust put on, which bolted right up, which is awesome. We got the oil pan gasket in there, so that's all sealed up. We're ready to put some oil in it, which is exciting. Thing's been sitting without oil for a long time now. I did mention earlier about wanting to put a muffler on the truck this time, and it's not really a traditional muffler. I've seen them a few places, a couple other videos on them, and it's basically you get like auger flanking and you put that inside your exhaust pipe, and somehow it I don't know what it does, like magic or something, but it aligns the pixies, and you know, it turns the loud into quiet but still sounds good. And I think that's something that I could probably build myself, so, and it's not really going to alter the exhaust at all. I'll basically just have to take a straight section and figure out how to put some auger flanking in there, and so we're not going to have like a big bulky muffler, and it's not really going to slow down the flow at all. Because as I was editing it, I'm like, yeah, the exhaust is so free flowing, I want to put a muffler on it. Hopefully soon we'll be able to start this thing up. And I've seen at least one comment where someone's like, hopefully you start it up soon. I hope so too. I don't really like letting an engine sit like this, you know, not being ran. So I'd like to fire it up and just kind of, you know, exercise its bones, get things lubricated, get oil everywhere. Plus we did quite a bit of work to it, and you know, maybe we didn't get a push rod in the right place. So it'd be nice just to have some confirmation on that before we get it all back together. That'll be in an upcoming video. My goal is to have it running by the quarantine car show, because it's kind of depressing that that's coming up again and the truck is still in pieces. When I first took this apart, it was supposed to be like a quick couple month job, and it kind of snowballed, and then we moved and had a kid, and yeah, here we are. Almost a year later, and we're still working on it. But not to worry, we'll get it back together here at some point and get it driving. The first time I did this, it was just kind of thrown together. I'm more of a proof of concept, you know, because I had a lot of people that told me you're never going to get that engine to fit in there. It's never going to run right. You're never going to be able to drive it anywhere. And, you know, so it's just kind of thrown together just to prove people wrong. I think that's going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out so you don't miss out on any truck updates. We'll see you in the next one. Hope you guys are having a great week.